This video is going to talk about division equations. Again, remember that inverse operations are operations that undo each other. Addition and subtraction are inverse operations, as are multiplication and division. The multiplication property of equality states that when you multiply the same non-zero number on both sides of an equation, the two sides remain equal. Also, adding 0 or multiplying by 1 changes nothing. So let's look, I'm moving a little bit too early. Let's go ahead and look at our example. So if I have 5 equals 5, and if I'm going to multiply 5 on both sides, 5 times 5 is 25, and 5 times 5 is 25. So I get the same answer on both sides, so long as you can actually see it. Let's go ahead and take a look at our equations. Our first equation that we have is x over 7 equals 5. Remember that that sign right there means division. So we have x divided by 7 equals 5. What is the inverse of division? Well, it's multiplication. So I'm going to multiply by 7 on both sides. Instead of rewriting it, I'm going to write it up here and just put times 7. And what you're going to notice over here, it's going to be pretty simple. 5 times 7 is 35. But over here, things look a little bit different. This actually simplifies. Can you read that okay? Yeah. This actually makes it 7 times x, 1 times 7. And because there's a 7 on top and a 7 on bottom, we don't actually need to go through the multiplication. We can just cancel these out, and we're left with x over 1 equals 35. But you don't need to write x over 1. You can just write x equals 35. Let's go ahead and double check that. X over 7 equals 5. Take out the x, put in the 35. 35 divided by 7 is 5, so we know that we're right. The second equation, x over 8 equals 3. We need to get rid of that 8, so we just have x all by itself. So I'm going to multiply by 8 on both sides, because multiplication is the inverse of division. Put 8 over 1, 8 on top, 8 on bottom. Those can cancel out. So I'm just left with x over 1, or x. 3 times 8 is 24. So my final answer is x equals 24. Let's go ahead and double check that. X over 8 equals 3. Take out the x, put in the 24. 24 divided by 8 is still 3, so we're good to go. Let's take a look at our word problem. Our word problem says that 1/4 the number of students will participate in an after-school sport. 42 students play sports. How many students are there total? So we know that 1/4 the number. So what that 1/4 means is that this is the number of total students who are in school, and this is the number of students who play sports. 1/4 of them will play sports. So if there are 16 students who play sports, well, let's just go ahead. We don't need the example. We've got an example right here. So if there are 42 students who play sports, what we need to do is we need to take that 42 and we need to figure out, this is how many people play sports, how many students total are there. So we need to go ahead and divide that. But we can't divide it because we don't know what there is here. Sorry, I kind of drifted for a second there. So let's go ahead and get rid of this 4. Multiply it and put 4 over 1. We are left with x over 1, or just x. Now we have 42 by 4. Doing our math off to the side again. 2 times 4 is 8. 4 times 4, 16. We have 168 students total. So let's go ahead and check that. If I have 42 students, if I know that 1/4 the number of students will participate in activities, This is sports to students, right? Let's look at this another way. If there are 168 students, which is what I just found out, 42 of them play sports. Are these equivalent? 42 times 4, well, we just did that, is 168. 168 times 1 is 168. So we know that we have the right answer. What you're going to do for homework is you are going to go ahead and solve this problem. X over 5 equals 6. What does X stand for?